Hey everybody, and welcome back. This is going to be part 2 of the Ranchero video. Sorry it's been taking a while to get back to it, but life happens, as we all know. So today what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and get inside the Ranchero, and we're going to see which actually is in there. I've got a pair of gloves sitting off to the side over here that we'll definitely need to use. Just wanted to make a quick shout out to everyone who's following the channel and who's been following me on Instagram or over on TikTok. Thanks so much for all the support. I love to see that there's so many of us getting together, whether you're Ford guys or Chevy guys, Dodge guys. I'm just glad to see that we're all getting together on this. So anyway, this is the 1972 Ford Ranchero 500. If you haven't seen the first video, part number 1, go ahead and look at it. It kind of introduces how we got the Ranchero here and what we're going to be doing with it here on the property. Part 2 today, what we're going to work on is, like I said, we're going to get inside. I know there's a bunch of stuff behind the seat that we have to go through and try to figure out what's there, and we'll also give you guys a little look at the interior to see what the interior actually looks like. It does need a lot of work. So anyway, we're going to walk over here to the driver's side. Sorry the car is dirty, but it kind of rained here the other night, and so we got a lot of spots all over it. So, well, hold on a second. Oh, for crying out loud, I forgot the keys. All right, so one thing I noticed on this door is when you go to open it, you can feel there's a little bit of a sag to it. I don't know if that's something we're going to be able to adjust on the hinges on the front of the door or not. It doesn't seem to be so bad when you close the door. I mean, it seems to close fairly well. It sounds like it shuts good, but when you open it, there's just a little bit of a hiccup. Also, this door handle definitely needs to be tightened up because it doesn't really grab like it should. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to roll the window down. This is a 1972. And when you had to roll windows down, now I do believe that power windows was actually an option on the Ranchero and the Gran Torino, but I'm not 100% sure on that. But anyway, we've already discussed these mirrors. That's one of the things we're looking for today. We're going to see if we can find the sport mirrors that go with the car. And an interesting thing I found out the other night, I was looking online, these chrome pieces of trim here that sit at the top of the door, they've got like the little felt strips that go against the glass. They actually reproduce these because these things always get chewed up by the sun and they start to break. So anyway, let's go ahead and get inside the car. So let me get on my gloves. All right, so now that we're actually inside the car, these door panels used to be green. I think, as I told you in the first video, the Ranchero started off as a dark green. And if you could pan over here, you could actually see, here's the original color of the car, this dark green here. So these door panels used to be green, as did the rest of the dash, and somebody just painted them black. So this door panel on this side is pretty chewed up at the bottom. The armrest is all chewed up, but the nice thing about that is they actually make reproductions of these door panels and the armrest, so those we can easily replace. The seat is totally trashed. The seat itself is not original to this car. I'm not sure what car this came out of, but the original car, the original Rancheros would have come with a bench seat, a one-piece bench seat, and it would have had high backs on it, where this is two independent. It's a bench seat, but it's independent, so the driver's side and the passenger side move independently of each other. Or the Ranchero would have come with bucket seats if you got that option on the car. So, steering wheel. Someone over the years has added on this aftermarket steering wheel. As I mentioned in the first video, the car does have air conditioning, and so it's set up here for that. It currently has the standard instrument cluster, which most of these cars had, but I do have a GT Sport cluster that we are going to add into the car. The original one just would have had idiot lights with turn signal, speedometer, more idiot lights, temperature gauge, fuel gauge, and so on. Standard or automatic transmission on the column. Missing a few pieces here and there. And as you can see, the original radio is gone. Someone added on to that. And unfortunately, when they did that, they actually cut the dash to make that one fit. So that might be a part that we might have to see if we can find to replace. All right, so I've switched sides. I'm now on the passenger side of the car. I noticed that on this side here, the window crank is missing the little plastic handle, which makes it a little hard to roll down. But again, these are made, they reproduce all this stuff. But a good idea is once we replace these door panels, a good idea would be to go in and to like grease up all the works inside. It'll make these windows go up a lot easier. Anyway, this passenger side of the seat is not much better than the driver's side. I'm still not sure what we're going to do with that. I don't know if we're going to try to find some donor seats out of a different car, maybe some bucket seats, maybe like out of an old Fox body or something like that that would fit in here. But anyway, so the passenger side, just you have this little thing here, Ranchero 500. Of course, air conditioning vents, this one needs to be replaced. These are still there. And then down here you have the glove compartment, which we're not sure what's in there. But again, you can see that it was originally green and someone has painted it. Now the dash cap up here, these are reproduced. So they make the, it's just like a plastic cover that you can paint any color that you want, and then you slip it over the top. We still have our visors, but we do have to replace the headliner. And the only other thing is here on the mirror we have a rosary that's hanging from the mirror. We've left it there because I guess for as of right now the car has survived this long with them hanging there, so why tempt fate? We're just going to leave them alone for now. Eventually we'll find a place that we can stash them here in the car, so they stay with the car for good luck, but they won't be hanging from the mirror. Down below, our first items that we found is we have a couple of Flowmasters down here on the passenger side floorboards. These will obviously get taken out of the car, and we'll put these probably back in that shed that you saw in part one. Otherwise, we got some water bottles we're going to throw away, some rags we're going to throw away. Fire extinguisher, of course, we're not going to throw that away. You know, it's kind of funny. When I was a kid, my grandfather, he always had fire extinguishers in his car. And I always used to think that was kind of strange to have a fire extinguisher in a car. But now that I deal with older cars, I wouldn't drive one without a fire extinguisher in it. Just a thought, you might want to put one in your car if you don't have one. Because I think we've all seen those videos where someone's classic car is on the side of the road burning down and they don't have anything to help put it out. All right, so I'm going to get these Flowmasters out of here. And then what we'll do is we'll start looking behind the seat. All right, so what we're going to do now is we're just going to go ahead and look behind the passenger side of the seat. Now in the Rancheros came, there's a little bit of a storage compartment back here. And to be honest, this is where the spare tire would have originally been, is sitting back here. But then it gave you some space that you could have put a suitcase or something in here so it wouldn't get wet. Anyway, we found the original steering wheel here behind the seat. And at first glance it doesn't look too bad, but when you look behind it you can see it's all cracked. I mean, it could be used again, but with all the tape and stuff that's on it, my guess would be for this, I think we probably should just go ahead and toss it. And I'm not really a big fan of the GT steering wheel that's currently on it. Maybe we could get something that's more of an aftermarket, but it still looks kind of period correct. So I think the steering wheel is going to go in the trash. Here we've got carb cleaner. This is the bottom of the steering wheel column that's missing over there. Here's the Grant steering wheel adapter kit. an extra rear view mirror. We already got one, but we got another one. Of course, we've got some antifreeze, and this is the back or the side or something of the seat that's here. This is a box for a distributor. Here we got a Mallory control box back there, an extra seat belt here, some kind of a thermal, probably a choke line, or a choke line there. As you can see, there's lots of surface rust, and I know that there's holes back in here that we got to address. Again, that's what I told you in the first video. The Rancheros were notorious for leaking from the bed into here. So that's pretty much what we got on this side. Not a whole lot. The steering wheel, we're just going to dump because it's just in bad shape. So let's go ahead and see what we got behind the driver's side. All right, so now what I've done is I've moved over to the driver's side of the Ranchero, so we can see what little treasures we have behind this side of the seat. We already looked behind the passenger side, didn't really come up with a whole lot of anything interesting, so let's see what we find here. First thing I can tell you, as I can see right off the bat, is we actually have sport mirrors, and we have two. We have this one with its remote cable here, and its gasket still attached. And we have the second one here, which this would be the passenger side. It doesn't have a control for it, but we do have the two mirrors. As a matter of fact, I think I actually have another set of sport mirrors somewhere. I'd have to find them. Anyway, we got a bunch of stuff here. We've got some, well, this probably was part of the breather underneath the hood there for heat. We got more water, purified water. We have a Mallory Unilite ignition, which probably goes with that ignition box we saw on the other side. And some wires, some covers, more rags no one needs. Fuel pump. I'm assuming a fuel pump was changed not that long ago. And we've got leftover freeze plugs from, because before we brought the car down here, we had the freeze plugs changed because there was 3 of them that were just totally gone. New thermostat, stuff like that. So, as you can see, we did luck out with the mirrors, and that's kind of what I was hoping to find in here, to be honest with you. Steering wheel, I had hoped the steering wheel was in better condition. It's not. Like I said, we'll just go ahead and we'll find, eventually when we get to that point, we'll find an aftermarket one, but it has a vintage look to it. So that's the interior of the Ranchero. It needs work, but I don't think it's a lost cause. I appreciate you guys adding comments of things you've done to yours or anything like that. But as it stands, that'll be the end of part 2. And part 3, what we'll do is we'll end up getting this thing running. So we'll see you for part 3. Thank you so much for watching part 2. And we'll see you next time.